I love in A Course in Miracles, it says that any sort of urge, and it speaks specifically to food or uh, really any physical urge, the urge to have sex, the urge to go for the dessert at night, the urge to eat more than we need. And urge is specific because when I say urge, I'm not referring to inspiration or authentic um, desire or action. I'm referring to an urge that says, if I don't get this urge met, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. I'm going to feel like something's missing. So every physical urge is an invitation into our human spirit. What does that mean? An urge is a calling from our spirit back to itself. It's spirit saying, you have a belief that is keeping you from being transparently aware of your being, of your core essential self, which cannot contain any lack, which what you are looking for in the food, what you are looking for in the relief is actually in your own being. Just in that moment, you're forgetting that. You're thinking it's in the ice cream, the relationship, the sex, the thing, the whatever. So an urge is actually that belief coming to the surface. So the urge is a sensation of a belief in lack. I need this in order to feel blank. So I'm sourcing outside of me, which again, you will never find something that you can actually get outside of you because there's no such thing as outside of you. So it's like looking for water in a hallucination. You're never going to get it. Yeah, and if you just keep looking for different, oh, maybe it's in that hallucination there, oh, that hallucination over there. You're looking for water in a mirage. You're never going to get it. So you don't need to get rid of the mirage. You don't need to fight it, the urge, the objects. You just need to realize it is a mirage. It is an illusion. It is a belief that says something in my reality I'm resisting. There's something lacking. There's some belief coming up that is creating the sensations of lack. And instead of questioning the beliefs and the thoughts, we are defaulting into the learned behavior of, let me find relief in objects. Objects being anything in physical reality. Even our body can be referred to as an object. And when I say objects, I don't mean to imply that you're disconnected from objects. Because in fact, it is your consciousness that gives rise to the objects. How can you experience objects without conscious awareness of the objects? No one has ever experienced an object independent of their consciousness. Same goes with their body. In fact, when consciousness is off, awareness is off, you're not aware of your body. That's because that's the state of deep sleep. So, what am I saying here? Every urge is an invitation from God, from all that is, or from consciousness, or from your higher self, to experience a miracle. And a miracle is a shift in perception, namely the perception that says, I need this thing to be at peace. And it is not just shifting the perception in the belief in need, it is shifting the perception in who you think you are in that moment. Because to go, you know what, I need to satisfy the body in order for me to feel free, you are saying that you are the body. You're saying, in order for me to be happy, my body needs this, my body needs that. Now, it might be true that your body needs nutrition. It needs to relax. It needs some sort of healing modality. But that doesn't mean your happiness has to be on the line. Your peace has to be on the line. Until this need is met, I'm pissed off, miserable, and hangry. This can happen dozens of times a day. And by the end of the day, we go, man, I just had a kind of a crappy day. No. I had a dozen moments of identifying with the body. That's more true. So the miracle is when I have a bodily urge, I'm being invited to question the identification I have formed around my body so I can free myself of the associated suffering and then either choose from a clear place, a clear, grounded place of knowing how to respond to what my body needs. Or I simply realize it wasn't an actual need that my body was intuiting. It was a projection of my mind. You can go into the world of, well, the body doesn't need anything, your infinite consciousness. Okay, well, then why have a body if you are not going to give it what it needs to function well? What's the point of, it's like if we're playing the game of duality or playing the game of humanity, the most spiritual thing you can do is embrace the body, embrace the process. And we cannot embrace it if we are misperceiving and acting from human animal. Because human animal says, just relieve the suffering by having sex, by doing this, by doing that, by eating the thing. Human animal is the world of coping, avoiding, addiction. So again, our urges, we eat, and our addictions, they're actually moments where we are exposing the unquestioned belief system that says, I am this body. If I don't get what I want, I'm in lack. I will suffer. I will die. And we're bringing all those beliefs and thoughts to the surface. And either they come to the surface and we run away and we continue our patterns, or they come to the surface and we surrender. It's really the choice. What does surrender mean? It means I can't find a reason to run. It's not a doing. It's not a trying. There's no effort. It doesn't make sense to run anymore. Because what does running actually get you? Temporary relief? Well, if you're watching this show, you're probably not here for temporary relief, at least consciously. Going, man, I really hope I find some great ways to temporarily relieve myself. You want lasting transformation. So surrender means I can't find a reason to resist what is. So again, surrender is in the absence of resistance. So no one needs to learn how to surrender. It's just understanding clearly what surrender is and why or what keeps you from surrendering automatically in response to these urges and feelings of discomfort versus running. Understanding why for you. And it will always be connected to, well, if I just sit here and completely allow the emotion and thoughts to come up and I don't run, but I bring it, in fact, closer to me. I join with it. I put all of my attention on the feelings in my body and I just sit and breathe. And I sit with it until I can genuinely say, this doesn't need to go anywhere. This doesn't need to change. In fact, I can be with this all my life, forever. I'm okay. This is okay. Until I can sit in that genuinely, then I can start being curious as to what beliefs I'm holding on to about myself, about my core identity that is creating and perpetuating these emotions. So, for example, I might sit and, oh man, I'm noticing this coming up. I would usually run. I'm having the thoughts, I need this, I need that. I'm having the urges. I sit, I feel the discomfort, I breathe. And I might need to do that 10 more times. And I'm just feeling. And this is where the curiosity begins. Okay, I wonder what I'm believing. I wonder what condition is revealing itself to me. All right, well, if it's not obvious yet, I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to feel. I'm just going to let it be. I notice my thoughts. Okay. Personally, I could just sit in this for a long time. It feels so good. So, but let's pretend it's not. It's feeling stressful. It's this and that. I might have a thought, man, if I don't do this, I'm going to die. It will be connected to some form of death. And what you're afraid of isn't your physical death, it's the death of the ego, it's the death of the personality. And it keys into your survival mechanism. It says, well, if I die, you die. And that's where it's about being vigilant and clear. Okay, if I just let this go, I'm going to be deficient. I'm going to lack something. You start questioning that thought. Is it true? I'm going to lack something. I'm going to be worse off. I'm going to explode. You start questioning, is that true? Are those facts? You ask the question, who would I be without that thought? Who would I be without the thought that I'm going to die if I feel this? Or that I'm going to be deficient without that? Can I absolutely know that it's true? It's like I've never experienced that. So how can I know it's true? And then you can even trace it back and go, okay, I would be deficient. Who is the I that would be deficient? If I don't act on my urge, do the thing, get the thing, try to control the thing, who would I, who's the one that would be deficient? And genuinely explore the question, not as a mental exercise, but as a, okay, who would be deficient? Would my body in of itself be deficient? Let me ask you this. Has your body been deficient so far? Ever? Some of you go, yeah, it's been deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. Okay, well, obviously not deficient enough for you to die. So it hasn't. It's been deficient according to people and their standards. Obviously not according to your body and what it needs to survive. So your body's never actually been deficient. It's been deficient according to people, but not unto of itself. So if I don't get this, is my body going to be deficient? Can my body actually be deficient in of itself? If your body is deficient and it dies, you don't experience that. You wake up. No one experiences the death. It's like you don't experience falling asleep. You just remember waking up. You just wake up and then remember, oh, at some point I must have fell asleep. Well, that's death. So you never experience deficiency. You're either living in this state of physicality or living in this state of spirit. That's it. It's like moving states in a country. So if I know I've never been deficient, my body's never been deficient, has my thinking been deficient? Has my emotions been deficient? I might have a feeling that feels like deficiency as a feeling, but is that feeling unto of itself deficient? Deficient of what? Devoid of what? Feelings can't be deficient, they're just feelings. My body can't be deficient, it's just my body. So my awareness, the only other component to experience, really go to your own experience. You think thoughts, and then you have senses. And then there's a part of you, or there is you, that is aware of your senses and your thoughts. If I were to ask you, do you know that you are aware of your experience? You would say yes. So you have awareness, thoughts, and senses. And within senses, You have the five senses and emotion and sensing and feeling. That's your whole experience. So where's the deficiency exist? If your body can't be deficient unto of itself, if your emotions can't be deficient unto themselves, your thoughts can't be deficient unto themselves. You can have thoughts of deficiency, but that thought is a whole complete thought of deficiency. It's not deficient in anything. It's just a thought. That's its nature. And your awareness. Have you ever had a moment where you were deficiently aware? Man, I'm not aware of this thing that I should be aware of. Well, how do you know you should be aware of something you're not aware of? You wouldn't even know what that thing is. So how could you know you need to be aware of it if you don't even know what it is? You see, you can never find deficiency, not in your body, your emotions, your thoughts, or your awareness. So when you say, man, I would be deficient if I didn't get what I needed, who are you talking to? Who are you referring to? You're obviously not referring to the body. You're not referring to your emotions or your thoughts, and you're not referring to your awareness. You're referring to a made up character called myself, called Brandon, called John, called whoever. And you're saying that that person will be deficient. And that is the ego. That is the separate self identity, the personality construct that we literally construct as a combination of our beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and actions. We say there is a person that is thinking and believing and doing all of these things. And we go, well, then that person will be deficient if I don't get. And we look at where is that person? Who is that person? And there's not one there. There's just thinking, believing, sensing, awareness of it. Which one is most essentially you? Your awareness, because it's the only thing that doesn't change. It is the only consistent thing in your life. It is the eternal, it is infinite. There's no birth to it, there's no death to it. That is essentially you. So that can't be deficient because awareness is awareness by its own definition. It can't be anything else besides what it is. So you see, every time you have an urge coming from this negative instinctual human animal place, you're actually being invited to bathe the separate self identity with awareness, to see through it transparently, and to return, really without returning, to your infinite, expanded, ever present self as awareness, as self awareness, that by its nature is absent of all negative beliefs, emotions, and concepts. Awareness itself cannot feel, cannot change, cannot become anything. Again, it is like the space in the room, unaffected by the contents of it. Contents being thoughts, emotions, change. So you join with the urge, you bring it close to you, to feel it, to join with it, to be present with it, and then you start being curious. Deficient? Is it true? What would be deficient? Who's that? Who is the one that could be deficient? And you start to trace it back and back and back until you realize there is no separate person that could be deficient. And that all that there is your own infinite consciousness in which relief, peace, happiness, fulfillment, love emanates from. So then from that place, you go, oh, I don't need the object. I don't need the food, the person, the thing, because I'm turning towards myself. And witnessing and experiencing my being be the source of everything I'm seeking.